All right, everyone. Let's start our meeting. Welcome you all, and we will start our session now. So, anyone recall what we discussed in last session? Leram, what we discussed last session? You able to recall? No idea.
Yeah, we discussed about the control panel and data plane, and
That is for the that we discussed for the SD-WAN, not for the firewall. Firewall, I believe
oh,
we
sorry,
discussed. I can understand.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
and also most of them are just confused.
No problem, no problem. I can recall. Anyway, Sachin, you able to recall what discussed in last session in the Palo Alto?
Yes, so we discuss about why we are learning Palo Alto, means
Okay,
which makes it different from other firewall like next generation
right.
firewall.
We just did the general discussion about the Palo Alto, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. Sorry.
general, no problem, Nilam. It's fine, absolutely fine. Okay, guys. So we'll move ahead further, and we will try to understand why we need a firewall. That is our first agenda that I will explain. Might be Lila Ram, it's going to be a repeat session for you because just now we discussed in the same concept in the FortiGate,
Sure,
right?
sure, sure.
So just ignore me, but other guys are new, so they must have to know that you are in a multiple course, might be the same topic initially going to repeat for the all firewalls.
Fine.
All right, so guys, except Lila Ram, do you guys any idea why basically we need a firewall? Except Lila Ram, anyone have any idea why firewall is needed?
Firewall is generally needed to protect the production environment from the outside or the untrusted network.
Okay. Pratap, your voice is breaking. Maybe you can you just repeat one more time? Adjust your mic a little bit. I was
Uh,
unable to.
I was saying that firewall is generally needed to protect our production environment from the untrusted network. And
Mhm.
we have to filter the traffic, like, what are the websites or what are the, I mean, how we have to route the traffic from internal network to outside network, what are the traffic has to come inside from the outside. Basically, it is just a protection.
Yes, I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other versions, guys? Why we need a firewall? Okay, so let's discuss about. Let's just start with some short of the story, and then we understand why we need a firewall. So we are going everywhere across the globe, traveling via the flights, via the railway station, via the metro stations. So you might have seen that every time when you go for the any public places, critical public places, uh, you might be seen there are some proper security checks are going to be happen. And why those security checks are mandatory? Those security checks are mandatory to make sure you're not going to carry any unauthorized things which can be danger for others during their travel. Let's suppose you're traveling in the flight, somebody going with the guns, so might be in the air. There is no kind of security, no kind of the any defense systems, any kind of the army personals, navy personals. So who is going to know any police stations who are going to protect in the air? So if you have the gun, you are going to become a superpower. You might be going to kill anyone. If you have the bomb, you're going to be explode that bomb and it's going to be destroy everything in the flights. Same in the metro, same in the railway stations. Might be it's going to be danger for the everyone. So mitigate these situations whenever we're going to travel from the any public place locations. You might be seen there is a proper security checks are going to be happen. Means everyone which is going through your security channels, every users must be going to validated by the proper security checks. And only you're going to be authorized to enter inside the airports, metro station, railway station if you have to come make the all compliance fulfill, and you have the all things which you're going to carry, that is authorized, not unauthorized, then only you're going to allow to enter the airport and metro stations. And same concept is going to apply for your any other digital transitions. Means if you're doing any digital transitions, networks must be going to flat. Means if I'm talking networks, that means you are going to connect your router, you are going to connect your switches, you are going to connect your hub, right? You're going to connect your WLC, you're going to connect your AP, you're going to connect your printer, you're going to connect your servers. So they are going to make complete network infrastructure, but they are going to be flat networking. Means they are going to just work on the layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4 infrastructure. So they have the understanding they can only do the inspection based on the MAC address, IP address, and the port numbers. But what if any user sitting in the your LAN infrastructure, any hacker sitting on the internet, let's suppose this is the Mr. Hacker sitting on the internet, he trying to inject some kind of the bad file in your laptop. He trying to get unauthorized access of your laptop. He trying to do the vulnerability attack on your laptop. He trying to send the phishing email on your laptop. So the only intention of this bad man, or you can just say hacker, is to gain unauthorized access. After that, they are going to be exploit you. They are going to ask money. They are going to say, hey, if you give me the money, I will open your laptop, else your laptop is going to be completely encrypted. So that is known as the unauthorized access. They are going to inject any malware, so you also going to be affected by the malwares. They are going to inject the vulnerability, so you're going to inject by the vulnerability. So could be malware, could be vulnerability, could be unauthorized access. And if this is the flat network, nobody is going to protect you. Similarly, if this is a user, this is a Mr. ABC working in the office, might be his intention is to upload some confidential file on the internet. Again, this is internet, this is my internet, and this user might be have the very confidential file here in the laptop, and he want to upload this confidential file on the internet. Then what is going to be happen? This is going to be again, give me 1 second, guys. 1 minute. So this is going to be again your confidential file going to be uploaded on internet. In that case, you are going to lose all your company assets. That is going to be valuable asset. Might be a critical project. Might be it is going to be some sales pitch. Might be employee data. Might be a salary slip. Might be some kind of the appraisal data. So those all are going to be uploaded on internet. So it's not good for your company, good for your employee, good for your reputations. It could be lead to be financial loss. It could lead to your breach of trust, right? It could be lead to the breach of data breach, right? So this could be possible. And to protect this kind of situation, we required some sort of devices. The device is going to act as a monitoring point. That monitoring point, any incoming traffic is going to come. Means this is going to be act as a barrier. So in any incoming point is coming, any incoming traffic is coming from the internet to the your internal infrastructure. Just suppose internet. So this is going to be outside to inside. And if any traffic is going from inside to outside, in both scenario, this device or any device should be responsible to monitor your traffic. So your traffic must be going to be monitored. And after monitoring this traffic, they might be going to take some action. And what action? Might be they will allow you, or might be they will deny you. It's totally depend on your action type, what you have set it. So sometime it's going to be allow, sometime it's going to be deny. So this device, which is going to monitor your incoming traffic or outgoing traffic, this is going to act as your digital barrier. What is digital barrier? Digital barrier, just think about in your organizations or in your society, we have the boom barriers where you going to be enter in your society. Might be if you not have the valid sticker, your boom barrier is not going to be open. But if you have the valid stickers, once your car is going to reach on your gate, automatically boom barrier is going to be open. If you're not a sticker, it will not open, and the security personnel will come to you and he will going to ask you, hey, why you want to go inside of the society? If you are going to give the valid justifications, then only you are going to allow. If you are not going to give the valid justification, it is not going to be allowed. So that digital barrier is nothing. It's your special device, and that device is known as the firewall. So firewall having a capability. If I talk about the primary goal of the firewall, the primary purpose of firewall, it is going to establish a digital barrier, digital security barrier between your internal network. This is your internal network, which is known as your LAN infrastructure, or it's also known as trusted network. Trusted network, internal network, LAN is always same. Trusted is your internal infrastructure. Internal is again your internal infrastructure. LAN is again your internal infrastructure. So if you're going to make any communication from your internal infrastructure to external infrastructure, external is basically internet. So in that case, firewall always going to inspect your traffic. And after inspecting your traffic, it might be going to allow the connection or it might be going to deny the connections based on the predefined policies. So what is the policy we'll discuss about, but you have to define the policies. If there is no policy, definitely some action is going to happen. If there is a policy, then definitely some action is going to be happen. So we'll also discuss what policy, what action is going to be happen in case of your traffic is going to LAN to WAN. So similar fashion, if your traffic is coming from the WAN to LAN, not only LAN to WAN, even your traffic is coming from the WAN to LAN. Take an example. Now this user want to communicate your internal infrastructure. In that case also, firewall always going to act as a digital barrier. And this is going to make sure if you're trying to access any internal infrastructure, not the PC, even you are trying to access any kind of the servers, any kind of the printer, any kind of the network devices, you have to prove your identity. And if you are not going to prove your identity, they will not allow to have a connection to your internal infrastructures. So that is a rule of the firewall. So in short, firewall is going to act as your let me write here one by one. It's going to act as a traffic filtering. How the traffic filtering is going to happen based on your port number, protocol number, IP address, MAC address. So if only limited traffic you allowing, so limited only traffic is going to pass. If you're going to allow everything, then all traffic is going to pass. Not only your port, protocol, and the IP, it can be also work on the URL, content, any SL inspections, right? Any DNS security, that all IPS IDs, these all are going to be monitored. They also going to act as a barrier to block. Anything is going to be act as a unauthorized access, right? So unauthorized access is definitely going to block. The third thing is going to be, it's going to be give the malware protections. Means any malware is going to come in the network, that's going to protect it. That's going to be give the data security. What is data security? That is the DLP. You can just think about it. So anything is data, it is going to be secure. So this is the role of the firewall. Clear? So if someone is going to ask why we need a firewall, so the firewall is the primary device which is going to act as your one of the security barrier to make sure any traffic going trust to untrust, that is internal LAN to external LAN infrastructure. Similar way, external LAN to the internal LAN infrastructure, it is always going to filter your traffic based on the port, protocol, IP address, like your MAC address, URL filtering, web content, any other content, data, SSL inspection, they can do that. DNS security, you can deploy DOS profile, malware productions, any data security, everything is going to be protected. So that is the role of the firewall. Any questions, guys, here? Anyone, any questions? Why we need a firewall? All right. So considering no questions, now might be further you are going to understand your firewall can be a software firewall. Your firewall can be a hardware firewall. So what is a hardware firewall and what is a software firewall? So if I talk about the hardware firewall, because we are talking about the Palo Alto, so I'm going to show you in a Palo Alto what are the models available in the hardware firewall. So very unique thing you're going to always get into the hardware firewall. Let me open this one. Let me see here. So this is one of the firewall. You can see this is the one of the firewall. This come as a hardware firewall. And this firewall basically known as the Palo Alto 820. And we have this physical firewall available in our data center. Someday I will show in the camera as well how this is going to be physically even look like. So you can see this firewall having a lot of ports. I will explain what is these all ports and why we need these all ports. So hardware firewall is a firewall. You have to purchase hardware from the firewall vendors. Like Palo Alto is manufacturing the firewall, Checkpoint manufacturing the firewall, FortiGate also manufacturing the firewalls. So you're going to purchase the hardware firewalls and you can install that firewall in your data center locations, your colo locations, your private cloud location, or even your on-premises location like office locations, anywhere. So for this firewall, you have to pay cost of hardware. So you have to give the hardware cost, plus you have to arrange the power supply, and plus you have to uh, arrange the PAN OS. PAN OS definitely going to be there, but sometime you have to upgrade, downgrade, you have to do that. So hardware firewall is just physical device you need to purchase, connect the LAN WAN connections for the switch, core switch, access switch, whatever you have in the LAN infrastructure or distribution switch, or for the WAN side you can connect the ISP link directly on this. And this firewall is again going to be do all work. Means any unauthorized access is coming, malware is coming, any kind of the data leak is going to happen, any kind of the inspection, URL filtering, everything we can do that. But there is situations might be you're not in position to install this hardware firewall in your infrastructure. So how I can still leverage the all feature to make sure my network is going to be secure? What is the other way around? And take an example, we have a data centers, not data center, the cloud infrastructure data centers. That is the right word, cloud infrastructure. That's Azure. Azure is not going to tell every customer, hey, customer, give me your firewall, I'll install for you. No, it's not like that. If this is going to be happen, then the purpose of the cloud is going to be defeat. Cloud means we have the virtualized infrastructure. We can issue the space for you, and within that space, you can spin the different devices in terms of virtualizations. Not you have to send your physical firewall to me and then I'll install. No, it's not going to happen. But let's suppose you don't have a data center. You take in the subscription from the Azure. Let me draw something very interesting for you all. Let's suppose you are going to host everything in your data center, and that is a Azure or AWS. So what are you going to do that? You're going to take a space on the rent, and this space might be going to be 512 GB RAM, right? 20 TB SSD, and might be 100 vCPU. Just giving the example. This is the resource, physical resource. So when I talk about the clouds, guys, cloud is not something it's going to be on air. Badal is not going to be cloud, okay? Cloud is basically a big hardware infrastructure, big data center, which having the big hardwares, means very big servers. And if you're going to build big server, they have trillions of the terabyte storage, millions of terabytes storage, millions of RAM, millions of vCPUs, and those resources are going to be allocated for different customers. So end of day, if you are going to buy any hardware based firewall, what they have 3-4 main component. The very first thing, they require the SSD. That is one thing. Second thing, every hardware require the RAM, right? Third thing, they require the CPU, right? And fourth component, they require the ASICs. And fifth is going to PAN OS. So ultimately, to run the PAN OS, you require the storage. This is your storage. RAM is going to process your packet. vCPU is also going to be, act as a brain nervous system to make the all communication. ASIC is going to make a full circuits. So these are the basically a hardware. These are the basically hardware. There is a one component is the hardware, and this is the software. So if you're going to buy the physical firewall, this hardware and software is going to by default come together. But how this can be utilized in the cloud infrastructure? So cloud infrastructure also a infrastructure of the hardware. It's not something it's in air. It's a hardware, like they have also RAMs, SSD, CPU, and internal ASICs. So you just have to understand, if I have to deploy one of the PAN OS, what is the resources requirement? If you go here, let's suppose I'm going on the Google and trying to search. Let's take an example. Let's suppose I want to deploy the PAN OS in Azure Cloud. Then what would be resource requirement? So you're going to get like 50 GB hard drive. You're going to get 4 GB RAM, 2 vCPU, like that for basic deployment. See here. So if you're going to deploy the VM50, you can see you're going to get 5.5 GB RAM. You're going to get 2 vCPU and 32 GB storage. And you can get up to 1 GPS throughputs. Similarly, they have different models. So you have to decide which model you want to deploy. So if you want to deploy the VM500, in this VM500, they have the different capabilities. So I will discuss this all later. But think about it. For this VM, you have to require 16 GB RAM, 60 GB your hard drive. So this you require this space you need to borrow from your cloud providers. You guys getting my point? Means you want to deploy this firewall, so you need to borrow this space. Earlier, we are getting this space from the physical device. But if I'm going in the cloud, so cloud provider is going to give these all requirements. So out of these requirement, means I have taken the this kind of the all activity. If I want to give this, give me 1 second, guys. If I want to give this all, 1 second. 1 second, guys. Okay. So if I want to give this all things, so in that situation, whatever I have right now, out of this, I need to take a resource. Let's suppose this is my firewall resource. In this, I have the 2 vCPU, 6 GB of the RAM, right? And 32 GB of the SSD. And based on that, I can go and spin in that PAN OS. So software is going to be spin on that. Then software is going to leverage that your all hardware, which is your cloud, and that firewall has become as a software firewall. Clear? So software firewall is basically again going to require the resources, but that is going to be cloud resources. So probably you're going to get the hardware firewall like this. If you're not that hardware firewall, it deploying in the cloud infrastructure, even any branch location data center, if you don't want to purchase this firewall, you can purchase the big server. And within that big server, you can deploy that. You can let's see the one of the live example, guys. In Palo Alto, this is my one of the SXI hypervisor, and this is server. And this server, if you go here, you can find this is a Palo Alto firewall. This has been deployed. And this Palo Alto firewall, you can see how many vCPU, 2.2 and 5.5 GB. I have a RAM. Exactly, it's matching with basic requirements. See, 2 vCPU. And so this is a very low size of the VM I deployed. Means because we are in the lab, so we don't require that enterprise level of the license. And they have the disk space also 32 GB, and this is the RAM. So that's why you can see this is available. If you go disk space, it's I given 60 GB, so that's fine, no problem. But you can see 2 vCPU, RAM, and this is all. And this is my Palo Alto firewall. So this Palo Alto firewall basically we deploy in our cloud infrastructure, and this is going to exactly look like a physical firewall if you're going to log in it. But technically, it's a software firewall. So if I go and log in, so system info, it's 102. So if I go and log in this firewall, you are going to find this firewall is going to be look like this. See, so this is my firewall. I just deploy in the infrastructure. Now, these firewalls which I'm discussing right now, either a virtual firewall or either the physical firewall. This firewall is basically enterprise firewall. So what we call as an enterprise firewall. Why enterprise firewall? Why enterprise firewall? Because they are going to give the production of the thousands of computer, 50,000 of computer, depending on their company size. If you have the big company, big data center, big virtual machine, let's say the Amazon, they have the millions of computers or virtual machines sitting in the Amazon cloud. So if you want to give the protection for that all, that is required your physical or virtual firewall, that is known as enterprise firewall. So these are two structures. So we are going to most of the time in our lab talk on the software based firewall, because physical firewall is impossible to give everyone in lab. But trust me, even we'll talk about the physical firewall also. But if you're going to do all configuration, you're never going to realize I'm not working on the real box. Exactly the same OS, same image. You're never going to realize any feature which is not available in the physical, which is available in the virtual. No, it's not like that. Everything you can do that. So complete learning is going to happen, and everything we deploy in our infrastructure in the cloud, where you can access the software firewall. Now, apart from this software firewall, that is enterprise grade, we have the device level also firewall. And what is a device level firewall? Let's suppose the Windows PC. Windows PC also have firewall. But this firewall is limited to protect your only device, means single device. Protect your single device. So if you want to protect your single device, you have to use a Windows firewall. And you probably find it here. If I go into topology, let me log in this topology. Okay. So this is the 40 gig firewall, but I'll just show you even the Palo Alto as well. So if you go in the PC as well, you can see if I'm just opening this firewall, this is going to be your window firewall. Sorry. See. So this firewall also can create your any role, inbound role, outbound role, anything coming from in to out, out to in. This is also possible. And based on that also you can protect your network if you want to do that. But this come as a category of the physical firewalls. Sorry, virtual firewall, not physical. Sorry, my bad. A software firewall. Similarly, any router for their company, like a small network, a small company, if you're using that router also having the virtual firewall, you can leverage that also. So let me stop this lab. Let me close this lab. because we are in the FortiGate. Now we have to back in the Palo Alto. So let me go in the Palo Alto. Similar topology you're going to find across all my labs. I'll turn on this firewall, turn on this particular switch, one of the PC. This is the switch, one of the PC. We'll discuss later why I turn on. But now we at least understand physical firewall and the virtual firewall. And what is the firewall? Any questions, guys, before I move to the next slides? Okay, so
I have
yes.
one question. So only Palo Alto is having a software firewall or any vendor like a Checkpoint or a FortiGate
Okay,
in
so it's a good question. So all vendors, all vendors have these all solutions. You can deploy their physical firewall or the virtual firewalls. Okay, in short. Rahul, makes sense to you?
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rahul. Any other questions, guys? Anyone have?
Next generation firewalls are only having this software or like old firewalls which are already there in the network. So those
Okay,
are
so
also having the same
yes,
feature.
so that's a very good question. So probably might be you raised this question. I was about to talk this, but let's talk this. What is the next generation firewall and what is the old firewall, and that also having this kind of feature or not? I'll give the brief. Later on, I'll talk in very detail. So Rahul is asking, might we are going to heard about two type of firewall. One is the your old firewall, or which known as a legacy firewall, right? Or you're going to get the new firewall, which is basically known as the next gen firewall. Okay, so this kind of the definition you are going to find while going to learn about any firewall. So it can be your legacy firewall. So if you're talking legacy firewall, same meaning. So does require the software firewall or virtual firewall for both, or only single is going to required? So technically, Rahul, even next gen firewall, it's 100% yes. We are going to find the VM based firewall, right? And at the same time, even for the legacy firewall, for the major vendor like Cisco, even I can talk about the Palo Alto. When Palo Alto introduced that firewall, they have the always next generation firewall. So all major vendor you're going to find even the VM based firewall as well. So that is a both possible, because if VM is not possible, you cannot do the labs for the Cisco ASA. One of the example of the your VM firewall. Cisco ASA might be you simulate the firewall in the EVNG, right? And EVNG is only possible if the VM version is available. So the answer is 100% yes. We have the 100% yes for this one and 100% yes for this one as well. So in both cases, you are going to find the virtual firewall. Now, second questions, why we don't require the old version of firewall or legacy firewall? Why we are talking a new firewall and next generation firewall? So the key difference is in OSI, we have the multiple layers, right? So in out of multiple layers, the old firewall is going to work only based on the your transport layer, based on the network layer, based on the data link layer, or physical layer, basically definitely for the your connection. So we don't say anything, not applicable. Any. So only layer 4 communication, layer 3 communication, layer 2 communication, layer 2 is just for the your physical connectivity. But when you talk about the next generation firewall, either for the your physical or virtual, any kind of things you're talking about that, they are going to work. Okay. Okay, I believe I can make bigger this one. So this is going to be your application layer, transport layer, right? Again, it's going to be network layer. Again, it's going to be your data link layer. And this is going to be physical layer. Guys, can you give me 1 minute? I'm calling you. 1 minute. I'm just going on mute. All right, guys. So we have the physical layer, transport layer, data link layer, network layer. So any next generation firewall, this application layer is going to combine your 3 layers in the TCP/IP. This is for the like TCP/IP model, and this is for the OSI. I'm not talking the OSI model. I'm talking TCP/IP model. So it is going to be include your presentation layer and the application layer and session layer. These three are going to be integrated here, and based on that, you're going to combine these three to make the these all application layer. So this can understand your application layer 4, layer 3, layer 2, not only this, all layer 7. Along with that, they also support some additional feature, like you can do the URL filtering, you can do the any DLP, any content inspections, any SSL inspections, any kind of the application identification, that is going to be application layer, user ID, right, machine ID, etc. So they have the more feature. If you're comparing with the your old firewall, new generation firewall have the more features, and based on that more feature, you can just protect your all network. So next generation firewall is a new firewall which having the most security checks. Legacy firewall is a firewall which having the less security checks. That's why this has been like completely decommissioned and not in use. And this is the future of your all networking. Clear, everyone? Rahul, it's clear to you?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. So moving next, guys. Now, if I talk about why we need a Palo Alto firewall to learn. So in industry, you are going to find 2, 3 major vendors, and definitely one is the Palo Alto is a leader, another is a FortiGate is leader, another is going to be your Checkpoint is leader. Only 3 vendors are leader in the market. It's not by me. If you go for the Gartner Quadrant Magic report, what is a Gartner Quadrant Magic? Gartner Quadrant is basically one of the international organizations. They do survey for the every vendors. After doing the survey for the every vendors, they decided which vendors are actually leading in the market in terms of their products and their features. So leaders across the industry, only 3 firewall: FortiGate, Palo Alto, and the Checkpoint. And out of these 3 firewalls, sometime you're going to get Palo Alto on the top, FortiGate on the second, sometime FortiGate on the top, Palo Alto in the second, and Checkpoint remain on the third, leader of leader. Means out of leaders, sometime Palo Alto is going to be leader, sometime FortiGate is going to be leader. And Checkpoint is definitely in third position. And rest you can see challenges. We have Cisco, Alibaba, Juniper, Huawei. We have the niche player, that's the Microsoft, Amazon, Wall, S3S, WatchGuard, Suppose, Forcepoint, Barracuda, Hillstone, Sandforce Technology. These all are also going to be available. So you guys can think there are a lot of vendors available across the globe, but out of these vendors, market is really loving these 3 vendors. And even out of these 3 vendors, these 2 having a very high demand in the market. So if someone is going to learn these 2 firewall or these 3 firewalls, they have the high probability to get a high paid job in the market. All right. So if you are going to learn these firewalls, you are going to get very high paid in the market. And that's why always it's having a demand to learn FortiGate in Palo Alto. And there is a reason behind it. And what is the reason? The reason is their features, their security performance, their implementations, their management, support, and the cloud feature. And if we compare with the checkpoint in Palo Alto is leading most of the sections. These are the same, but here it's leading. Here might be this is leading, but you can see this section is leading, this section is leading, this section is leading, and two are same, and one is so almost it's winning over the checkpoint. FortiGate also you can see value for money. This is a very low cost firewall, so definitely it is going to be always cheaper. But you can see security performance is top notch for the both firewall. Implementations, Palo Alto is always super great. Management, Palo Alto super great. Support, Palo Alto super great. Cloud picture, Palo Alto super great. So we have some parameters, and based on that, all parameters you are going to find Palo Alto is just suppressing the other vendors' performance in terms of the multiple factors. And that's why Palo Alto become a global leader, and they have the global recognitions, very good global customer base, and that's why we having a very good demand for this particular firewalls. All right. So that is not my survey. It's the esecurityplanet.com. You can just go and refer that survey as well. Now, what product we are going to learn throughout this our journey? So in our this particular Palo Alto firewall journey, we have the Prisma Access, we have the Cortex XDR. We are not going to touch these two things. We are going to focus on the Strata PA series. In that, we discuss the VM, CN, and Panorama. So this all we are going to come. Means we are going to become a champion for the our Palo Alto firewall configuration, troubleshooting, deployment. Prisma Access, Cortex. This for the extended security for the your XDR for the endpoint security, for the automation orchestrations like you want to do for the SOC operations. And these are for again for the cyber security services, attack service management. You want to do that. So that's for the advanced troubleshooting, threat hunting. You want to manage these all things. So you are going to use this particular Cortex. Strata is your complete your end firewalls. Now, the exam going to briefly, these two exams have been completely outdated from the market. So if you want to become a Palo Alto engineer now, you have to go in the new certification that is known as the NGFW Firewall Engineer exam. So this is basically known as the Palo Alto NGFW Firewall Engineer exam. So you have to clear this exam. This exam cost is going to be 250 USD. And passing score is 80%, and that all question is going to be MCQ. So you are going to just book exam, you can just give the exam, and there is no these two exams available. So only Palo Alto NGFW engineer exam is available. You can book and you have to give this exam from the offline center. Right? It's clear everyone till here. I believe we are good. Now we have the very good foundations. We understand the firewall. Now we have to start this platform and architecture flow logic. So I have just 15 minutes, guys, and I don't want to start today. So can we start this module first in the next class? If you have any question, you guys can ask me. I would like to start from very fresh the module 1 from the our next class. Will it be fine for everyone?
Yeah, okay.
Any question meanwhile you
Yes.
can ask that, so we can have a chit chat. Still have a 10-15 minute time. But if questions you have, you can ask me. There's no problem. But I want to start module from the scratch, so everyone is going to understand with a fresh mind. Now we have the basic understanding and the basic concept of the firewalls and the certification and Palo Alto.
Yeah, you have shown this three different firewall types in this Palo Alto. So actually, where they deployed in the network? Means what is like a significance of these three types of firewalls?
I discussed the firewall, that is the hardware-based firewall, right?
No, not that one. Before this slide, there was one slide.
Okay. Let me.
Prisma,
No,
then
no. Okay. This solutions you're talking about, right?
Strata, Prisma, and Cortex. Yeah.
Okay. So this is your firewall, which is going to be your kind of the hardware or software firewall for the enterprise networking and security infrastructure. Means anything you can deploy in the cloud, office location, data center location. This is the for where the in-house security you want to deploy, right? This is for the cloud native security. This Prisma Access, SASE solutions. SASE is completely cloud native solutions. So in this, you don't have to purchase any hardware or software firewall. You have to just take rent from the Palo Alto subscriptions based on the cloud security. Even they'll give the your SDN solutions as well, and you can integrate with your firewalls or maybe the legacy routers as well or legacy switches to make the connectivity. So this is not a product. This is a solution, right? And you have to take a subscription to use these solutions, and you don't have any dependencies to buy the firewalls for your infrastructure. Like similar to Zscaler. Do you know Zscaler, Rahul?
Yes, yes, I know.
So exactly, it's a competitor of Zscaler. The third
Okay.
one is for the advanced monitoring and the your threat defense. Like it's a kind of the your cyber hunting group. Means if you want to hunt any malware, incident, any report, any vulnerability. So Cortex XDR is a centralized tool, automated tool where any malware, any virus, any incident is going to come, any security breach is going to happen. So SecOps operation is going to be your Cortex XDR or Cortex XZM, right? Tools are going to be activated. Based on that, you can manage your all different type of data source security, malware protection by setting in the SOC infrastructure. Just for the monitoring, visibility, and remediation plan for the threats, vulnerability, malware. Okay, Rahul?
Okay, got it. Yeah. And what are the models of the Palo Alto? Means I was
Yeah,
not
we have a
having.
lot of models. So I will discuss probably later on.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay.
so
Fine.
we
Fine.
let me show you. Yeah, so this is. I will discuss that. Okay, don't worry, Rahul. Clear?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you again. Bye. Take care, guys.
Thank you.